They said Gucci Mane isn't really Gucci Mane. That's Hobson. They gave him plastic surgery to become Gucci Mane. And now they saying Damar Hamlin isn't Damar Hamlin. And if you ever watched the TV show The Boys, you know about Noir. You know how Noir died, but they had somebody else come back to play him. That's crazy.
All right, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is absolutely wild. For years now, the internet's been whispering about Gucci Mane being cloned. I know. It sounds like some next-level conspiracy theory nonsense. But here's the thing, these rumors just won't die. And now, Kanye West has stepped into the conversation with some seriously disturbing allegations that have the entire hip-hop community talking again. So let me break down exactly what's being claimed here. According to these theories that Kanye's now co-signing the real Gucci Mane, the trap legend we all knew and loved, died while he was locked up in prison. That's right, dead and gone. And the person we've been seeing ever since he got released? A government-created clone designed to replace him and cover up what really happened. But it gets even darker than that, because Kanye's not just saying Gucci's a clone. He's saying that Gucci's wife, Keyshia Ka'oir, isn't actually his loving partner. She's his handler, meaning she's the one controlling everything. His social media presence, his public appearances, what substances he's taking, everything. Now, before you click away thinking this is just internet madness, let me walk you through the entire timeline, because when you see all the pieces laid out, you'll understand why so many people are convinced something sinister is going on. Let's go back to where this all started, 2013. This was the year Gucci Mane had what might be the most infamous social media meltdown in hip-hop history. And I'm not exaggerating when I say he went at everybody. We're talking Yo Gotti, Nicki Minaj, Waka Flocka, T.I., Angela Yee, A$AP Rocky, French Montana, Tyga, Birdman, Black China, the list goes on and on. Nobody was safe from Gucci's Twitter fingers that day. He didn't just throw shots either. He completely burned bridges. He kicked Waka Flocka, his own artist, his friend, out of Brick Squad, calling him disloyal and ungrateful. He made completely wild and inappropriate claims about Nicki Minaj and Angela Yee that shocked everyone watching. It was chaos. Pure, unfiltered chaos. People who followed Gucci knew he could be unpredictable, but this was different. This felt like a man who'd completely lost control, like he was spiraling into some dark place and couldn't pull himself out. And then, just as suddenly as the rant started, everything went silent. Gucci was arrested, and that's when the first whispers of something being off began. So what actually happened? Well, Gucci was in Atlanta acting extremely erratic. He was threatening people, being aggressive, causing a scene. When police arrived to arrest him, he didn't go quietly. Instead, he charged directly at the officers, not exactly the smartest move. When they finally got him in custody, they found drugs on him. They found a firearm. And here's the thing, this wasn't Gucci's first run-in with the law, not even close. He'd previously been arrested for hitting someone with a champagne bottle at a nightclub. The courts were already familiar with him. So when they looked at his record and saw he was a repeat offender, they didn't go easy on him. He got sentenced to 3 years and 3 months in federal prison. He ended up serving 2 years because of good behavior. And according to the official story, something happened to Gucci while he was locked up. He supposedly had this profound realization. He decided he was going to change his entire life, turn things around, become a better person. At least, that's what we were told. When Gucci Mane walked out of prison, he made a public statement that shocked a lot of people. He admitted, openly and honestly, that he'd been addicted to lean for over 10 years, more than a decade of substance abuse. He apologized to his fans, to his friends, to his family for everything he'd put them through. He promised he was going to rehab, promised he was getting help, promised this was a new chapter. And you know what? He seemed to follow through, at least on the surface. The Gucci who emerged from prison had quit all substances. He started hitting the gym hard. He detoxed his entire body. He lost a massive amount of weight. We're talking a complete physical transformation. His face looked different. His body looked different. Even his voice sounded different when he spoke. Now, normally, when someone gets clean and starts taking care of themselves, we celebrate that, right? We applaud the glow up. We respect the journey. But something about Gucci's transformation didn't sit right with people. It was too drastic, too complete, too fast. And that's when the theories started spreading like wildfire. Fans started comparing old photos and videos of Gucci to the new version. And the differences were striking. The way he moved, the way he talked, his mannerisms, his energy, everything felt off. So the internet did what it does best. It created a conspiracy theory. And this one was a doozy. The theory goes like this. The real Gucci Mane died in prison. Maybe it was the drugs. Maybe it was something more sinister. But either way, the government couldn't just announce that a major hip-hop artist had died in federal custody. That would be a PR nightmare. So instead, they cloned him, created a replacement. Someone who looked like him, sounded like him, but wasn't actually him. Sounds absolutely insane, right? But here's where it gets interesting, because people started pointing out specific evidence to support their claims. They noticed Gucci's eyes looked different. His tattoos seemed slightly off. He started wearing sunglasses sunglasses constantly, even indoors, which people said was to hide the fact that his eyes had changed color. His entire personality seemed like a watered-down version of who he used to be. But the real smoking gun for believers? Keyshia Ka'oir. Gucci's wife, Keyshia Ka'oir, suddenly seemed to be controlling every aspect of his life after he got out. She managed his social media. She controlled his public appearances. She was always by his side, always monitoring, always in charge. To some people, she looked like a supportive wife helping her husband through his recovery. But to conspiracy theorists, she looked like a handler, someone assigned to keep the clone in line, to make sure he stayed on script, to prevent people from getting too close and discovering the truth. The allegations got darker. People claimed she was keeping him sedated, giving him drugs to keep him compliant and controllable, making sure he never broke character or revealed what was really going on. And when anyone tried to get close to Gucci, anyone who knew the real him, Keyshia allegedly shut it down immediately. Fast forward a bit, Keyshia does an interview on The Breakfast Club, and she mentions Nicki Minaj. Now, Nicki wasn't about to let that slide without responding. She fired back on social media, essentially calling out Keyshia for chasing fame and clout. But here's the part that really caught people's attention. Nicki suggested that Keyshia was keeping Gucci sedated, that she was controlling him, that something wasn't right about their whole situation. Coming from Nicki Minaj, someone who actually knew Gucci personally, who worked with him, who was part of his circle, this wasn't just random internet speculation anymore. This was someone with actual insider knowledge saying something was off. And just like that, the clone conspiracy was back in the headlines. Everyone was talking about it again. The comment sections were going crazy. People were analyzing every photo, every video, every public appearance. But here's the thing, Nicki wasn't even the first person to raise these concerns. A full year before Nicki said anything, Gucci's ex-girlfriend McBreezy came forward with her own allegations. And these were even more direct and disturbing. McBreezy didn't dance around it. She straight up said the real Gucci Mane died in prison, that the person who got released wasn't him, that when she tried to reach out to him after he got out, something was completely wrong. He wasn't the same person she'd known and loved. But what really got people's attention was what she said about Keyshia. According to McBreezy, whenever she tried to contact Gucci or have a conversation with him, Keyshia would immediately intervene. She'd get defensive. She'd block access. She wouldn't let McBreezy anywhere near him. Why would she do that if everything was normal? Why would she be so protective and secretive if there was nothing to hide? McBreezy clearly believed something sinister was going on, and she wasn't staying quiet about it.
Cause girl, you don't even know the real Gucci. Y'all think y'all know the real Gucci. Y'all don't know the real Gucci. That nigga parading around out here, that ain't the real Gucci, man. That's not him. I don't know what the fuck, honestly. Like, last time I seen Gucci was at Patchwork Studio in 2010. Cold Blooded was there. Was Mojo there? Yeah, I think Mojo, Cold Blooded. Like, that's the last time I saw Gucci in the flesh, but even that was...
After Nicki's comments reignited the whole controversy, McBreezy came back even harder. She actually released a song, a full track, where she demanded that the real Gucci's body be released. She called out Keyshia directly, saying she knows more than she's admitting. This wasn't a joke to her. McBreezy genuinely seemed to believe that the person claiming to be Gucci Mane was not the man she'd been in a relationship with.
Yeah, free Gucci, thinking what I'm thinking. Man, some ain't right. Gucci, is you in there? It's so blank white.
Now, to be fair, Gucci himself has addressed these rumors multiple times. He's repeatedly said that he simply grew as a person while in prison, that he worked on himself physically, mentally, and spiritually, that the transformation people are seeing is just the result of getting clean, eating right, exercising, and maturing. He's talked about how prison gave him time to reflect on his life and his choices, how he decided he didn't want to be that person anymore, how he wanted to be better for himself, for his family, for his fans. On paper, it's an inspiring story of redemption, a cautionary tale with a happy ending. The kind of transformation we should be celebrating. But despite Gucci's explanations, despite his attempts to shut down the conspiracy theories, a huge portion of his fan base remains unconvinced. They still believe something deeper is going on. And now we get to the part that's really got everyone talking again, Kanye West. Kanye recently hinted that Gucci Mane is indeed a clone. Now, Kanye says a lot of controversial things, so you might be tempted to dismiss this. But here's why people are taking it seriously this time. First, the timing. Kanye brought this up right when discussions about industry manipulation and control were already heating up. Second, and this is the big one, Kanye himself was once accused of being cloned. Remember when Kanye came back from his hospitalization looking and acting different? The internet went wild with theories that he'd been replaced too. So the thinking goes, maybe Kanye knows something because he experienced similar attempts at control or replacement. And here's where it gets even weirder. There's this old clip of rapper Hopsin on Instagram Live where he talks about being forced to be Gucci's clone. He said industry elites threatened him.
I've been personally playing for about 8 years now. It started around when around Illmind 5 when that came out. because the song was so big, and then they told me I had to like kind of sacrifice something. They said you're gonna have to pay it back because you just put this information out there, and this is gonna put people in the wrong mindset of what we're trying to do in society. So they told me that if I don't do these list of things, then they're going to hurt my family. Like, it was like an all white room, and they opened one of the doors, and it had a Gucci suit. A Gucci bodysuit. And I said, oh no, please don't tell me that is what I think it is. They said, yeah.
At the time, everyone thought he was joking around, being satirical. But now people are going back and rewatching that clip with fresh eyes, and they're not so sure it was a joke anymore. If you spend any time on social media looking at posts about Gucci, you'll see the same observations repeated constantly. We never see his eyes anymore. He's always wearing sunglasses, even inside. Why? His eye color completely changed. Compare old photos to new ones. That's not Gucci's voice. Listen to old interviews versus new ones. His whole energy is off. The old Gucci had this chaotic, unpredictable energy. This new one is too controlled. Now, some people have alternative explanations that don't involve cloning. Maybe he's on medication that affects his appearance and behavior. Maybe Keyshia keeps him on substances that keep him calm. Maybe he's been mentally manipulated or traumatized. But whether it's cloning, drugging, or psychological control, the underlying concern is the same. This doesn't seem like the same person. Look, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm just laying out the facts and the theories. Maybe Gucci really did transform himself through sobriety. Maybe every suspicion can be explained rationally. Maybe Keyshia is just a protective wife who's been unfairly villainized. Or maybe there's something darker going on. What do you think? Do you believe Kanye's onto something? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This conversation isn't over. And with Kanye now involved, things are about to get a whole lot messier.